Cliffhanger.
Boy, we did it again. We decided to not film that episode a fourth time and thought, what better way to leave you on the edge of your seats but to have a sequel to D.
So true. We spoke for so long.
I know. We ran out all the memory on the phone.
Good job,
pretty good.
man.
She's
Good
pretty
job.
good. And not only that, we had time to change our costumes to give the illusion that this was done on a different day. It wasn't. It's just a few minutes after the one we just finished.
And by the way, I tied this tie on my first try.
Nailed it.
Love
it. All right, so let's finish up real quick on D. Where I was leaving off, obviously, was expanding that pain point and really finding what the pain is for that business and expanding on it.
Right.
And that's really what I kind of wanted to leave that thought with. Anything else you want to leave with D?
I was talking about kind of like the 5 different steps of the discovery. There's the data collection. There's uncovering the pain point. And I spoke briefly about the impact on the company, but we'll close that out for you guys here in this video.
Okay, perfect. Good. So episode 3 is a wrap.
A wrap. That was for last video.
Yeah.
A wrap
so now,
for last video.
Welcome to episode 4. And we got new coffee. You brewed a new thing. And this is Mama New Guinea?
This is Guatemala.
Guatemala, New Guinea?
Guatemala, Mama New Guinea.
There you go.
Papua New Guinea.
So same company, 49th Parallel Coffee Roasters, Vancouver.
Phenomenal company.
Different cup of coffee. So
different cup of coffee.
If
entirely.
we seem to be shaking a little bit, you understand why. We're drinking a lot of coffee.
Wick.
So what do you got here?
So a Guatemalan coffee. I would say
say that word.
Poquil. I'm
gonna call BS on that.
It's Poaquuil. Let us know what you guys think. Anyways, I would say that it's a little bit darker than the last. Would you agree? Give her a sip.
I wouldn't actually. I would say it's about as medium.
It's smidgen.
Maybe a smidgen.
Smidgen.
Indetectable to the untrained palate.
Of course.
Which clearly you do not have an untrained palate. Although I may. So maybe a smidgen.
It's a smidgen. Well, the main flavor I got out of the last one was pineapple, which is of course really light. The main one I get out of this one is of course the rhubarb, which is obviously more than pineapple. It's bright.
Yeah.
But out of this one I say I get rhubarb, apricot, and then it's like a creamy touch. I think the rhubarb first, but the main flavor for me is actually the apricot. I don't know if you get the apricot.
A little bit. It's definitely fruity.
Well. It's fruity, definitely fruity. The apricot though lasts longer for me than the rhubarb. The rhubarb's like bam, it's like surprise, I'm rhubarb.
Hits you right up front
for a bit. Yeah. Very tasty though.
Yeah, it tastes like coffee to me. I love it.
It tastes like coffee to me.
All right, episode 4. We're in 4, right? I mean, we
4.
filmed. Technically, it's like episode 7,
Cuatro.
of which we did one of them 3 to 4 times. But so we are on the G, the E, the D, the G.
We're not finishing Discovery.
Oh, finish Discovery, and then we're gonna go right into G. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
So what do we need to finish on D? Go for it.
Well, I want to finish on D.
D's important.
So important. But just to wrap it up, to make sure that you identify the pain, make them feel the impact on the company, but take it a little bit further and make them feel the pain on the person, right?
Sure.
So after I ask the question like, hey, what happens if you don't fix this?
Right.
Like, hey, if you don't fix this in your company, what happens next? And they're going to tell me, man, we're going to have to shut down some things you were alluding to. We're going to have to downsize. The next 3 questions I ask really discover the impact it is on the person. So the next question I ask is, hey, how do you feel about that?
Okay.
So it takes it to a personal note. Usually what you'll find at that point is one of 2 answers. So either A, they're going to say, hey, I obviously don't feel good about it. Or they're going to be like, oh, I don't care. If they say I don't care, it means they're not the business owner. They don't make any decisions, right?
Got it.
Because every business owner is emotionally tied to their business. It's their baby.
Yeah.
So at that point, I really get to make them feel the pain, like personally, in their business. After that, I ask the question, hey, who else cares about this besides you? Typically, what you'll find with that question is that this business owner is carrying all this burden by themselves, right? So they're going to say, hey, actually, I'm the only person who cares. I mean, if you think about it, his employees don't care. They pick up a paycheck. Right. He goes home, to his spouse, or they go home to their spouse, and, hey, honey, can you leave work at work? Is usually what most people get. So usually all these burdens of the business owner actually carries on themselves. So when you say, hey, who else cares about this issue besides you?
It's lonely.
It's a sad kind of thing, really. Right. But what you're doing is you're positioning yourself to say, hey, let me carry that burden with you, right? So it's where you're starting to position yourself as a true partner, which I think is huge. Huge.
And exactly what businesses need, and exactly why, of course, we're the solution for the sale is the solution for them. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why the next question I ask I think makes sense. So the next question I ask is, hey, what are you hoping I could do about it? So after this, I pulled him through the impact on the company, the impact on the person, and hey, what are you hoping I could do about it? And he's probably going to be lying in a pool of tears. You can do something about it.
There you go.
Right? Is what you're hoping for, but you're hoping for him to say, hey, whatever you can do about it is what I want you to do about it. It's easy at that point to jump straight into the guide and go ahead and tell him, hey, we can do all these things for you.
Talk that segue. What does that segue look like?
To transition between Discover and to Guide, I actually have the final bullet point in my Discovery, which is commitment. So I say, hey, just to make sure you haven't given up trying to fix this problem, have you?
Great question. Powerful question.
If he says yes, then you obviously don't want to do business with him, right? And if he says no, well, he's already said yes. So it's actually a close at the end of your Discover.
Sure.
So, right, we close at the end of Engage with, hey, if we do bring value to you, then this. If we don't bring value to you, then this. Does that make sense to you? Great. So we don't have any maybes, right? Yes or no.
Right.
We close at the end of our Discover by gaining commitment.
Great.
So, hey, you haven't given up trying to fix this problem. Well, of course not. And then the kind of the transition between my Discover and my Guide is I say, hey, let's pretend that I could, and I kind of vision cast a little bit. So I was talking about productivity and morale is this problem. But let's say that I could boost morale in your company and help your employees be more engaged and boost your productivity by 20%. What happens next? I just give them a little bit of idea of what I'm thinking in my head, right? Let's pretend I could do this for you. What happens next? And hopefully what he says whatever you need to happen is what happens next.
Okay.
And at that point, I think we consider, here you go.
That's it. Right.
So I've gained commitment, right? He said, hey, I'm definitely haven't given up trying, and whatever you need to happen is what's going to happen.
Okay.
At that point, I'm officially in my guide, and it's time to offer a solution.
Okay, great. So real quick wrap up on the Discovery. Obviously, the most important part of any sales solution is the gap analysis, right? Finding the gaps that exist. And again, if no gaps exist or there's no pain or there's no problem to solve, no sale. So hopefully it's a deeper dig and a deeper dive than just the periphery, which is what do you currently offer, what's the average age, what's the this and this important data, but it's not going to really uncover the true motivation for change, right? So there's two motivations for all changes in our lives, business owners' lives, right? Towards something or away from something. This type of motivation is away driven and focusing on getting away from any problems they might have and expanding that. And the more you push on that and expand on that, visualize what happens if they don't solve this, then they're wide open for a solution. Now, if we left them right here, we're just mean.
We're mean, terrible people.
Like just wallow in there and marinate in their own pain and misery and anxiety.
Yeah.
So the idea is we present the solution, shine the light on the problem, and the superhero shows up to be able to provide the actual solution. That's Guide. So G. This segment brought to you by the letter G. What is Guide? We're good with D?
We're good at D. I mean, it's warm-up questions, pain indicator, impact on the company, impact on the person, commitment. If you want the bullet points,
got it.
Pain funnel. And then if you've done those things, you officially have permission to guide them.
Yeah. This is going to be a long episode. I'm just FYI.
So the guide is just that. The guide is one doing what solutions Aflac has that's relevant for that pain point. So but it's also knowing how to tell the story, right? So at that point, I think it really is just storytelling. It's knowing, hey, his employees are dealing with productivity and morale. What are some things that would help with productivity and morale? Well, hey, I can position, commuter benefits, right? That's going to help them, one, not have to sit there and line at BART and refill their tickets and help them save some money. So I'm gonna offer that. And hey, he said he doesn't have any benefits, so his employees are going to want vision and dental. Maybe he can pay for that. We're going to get the Aflac products for these reasons. However you're positioning in your mind these different things we can do, you do that, but then you have to tell a story on, hey, this is how those things are going to help you.
What do you mean by that? Expand on that if you would.
So it's just that. For me, it's really situational based. It's different depending on what bird you're talking to.
Okay.
Right? So if I'm talking to an eagle, it's going to be like, hey, man, listen, I understand these are your problems. So the reason I believe this is going to help you is because it's helped me in the past like this. This is going to affect your bottom line like this. It's going to make your employees happy like this. Here you go.
Okay.
If you're talking to a Dove, I think that's really about our people. Hey, Miss Dove, I understand that productivity morale is a problem. So for your people and to guarantee that we can fix this problem, I think that we're going to go ahead and implement these plans, and what they're going to do is they're going to do this for your employees.
Okay.
It's very laid back. I think if it's a parent, it's kind of like, hey, so listen, this is how we can take care of this, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And for the owl, I think you have to be very detailed, like whatever their pain point is. Hey, so statistically, statistically in the industry, so you know you're not alone. Americans lose somewhere between $500 and $550 billion a year on productivity and morale. So it's obviously a huge issue. For that reason, we have several different plans that are going to help you get that.
Okay.
Now I'm going to offer 4 or 5, and I think that we've probably picked 2 or 3 of them that are right for you, right? Okay. So here we go, Mr. Al. These things for you. Now, what do you think is best for you and your company?
So guide certainly is part of the what we're presenting in guide. Is sometimes it's a product, right?
Sometimes it's a product.
Sometimes it's a value add or a service.
If that's WeMed or if that's whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Benefit.
Anything else that should be encapsulated with guide?
At the very end of guide, I do what I call a value ask. So my transition out of guide, after I've vision casted, I've offered that solution, and they truly understand, hey, this solution fixes this pain that you just fixed, or you just uncovered. I do what I call my value ask. So after they've understood how this is going to fix their company, I say, hey, is this going to bring value to you and your company? So I'm tying back to the end of my engage, right, where I said, hey, if we do bring value to you and your company, we're going to set an employee education, we're going to go forward and we're going to educate your employees. And if you don't see value in us, it's great. We're going to part ways as friends. No harm, no foul kind of like.
Sure.
So I tie back to that and say, hey, does that bring value to you and your company?
And I think that's the key word is the tie back, right? You want to tie it to something that we uncovered earlier. Right. Because it helps solve that problem.
Right. Not, hey, do you like that? Or how does that sound? But hey, does this bring value to you and your company?
Right.
And of course it does, right? I mean, you just pulled them through the mud of the discovery and you just offered a very relevant solution. Right. So, hey, does this bring value in your company? Yes. And then you basically closed. So you've now closed at the end of your engage, you closed at the end of your discovery, you've now officially closed at the end of your guide.
And we have one more, which is the last E, which is, what does it stand for?
It's execute.
Execute. So that's to come to you at a CFC in a future date.
Future date.
Good.
Did you have anything to add on the guide?
No, I don't think so. I think you nailed it, man. I think that's it, right? Because the hard work is uncovering, of course, the pain.
Right.
Now, there's no doubt about it. I'm a firm believer if you've chosen this to be your art form, be the best at it. And what I mean by that is, of course, know everything about the industry, solutions. Certainly know your product knowledge, know your solutions with value adds. And the idea is really applying that analytical muscle, right? So with this situation, what is the solution? And I know I always try to present different case studies to really enhance that muscle. Like, here's the scenario, company ABC. This is what we know about them, right? What additional questions can we ask? Can we expand? And then what solution would you provide?
Right.
And that should be a skill that everyone continues to develop, is applying that analytical, situational analytics, which is in this situation, this is going to be my guide.
Yeah, this is my strategy for that pain point.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
The thing about that is that it's constantly evolving. I mean, just in the last couple of months, Aflac's added some phenomenal new things. Like ACA reporting was not a thing a few years ago.
That's right.
So
it was never needed before, right?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. So you definitely have to be up to date on your value adds and the current pain points and what's going on in the industry. So be a student of your business.
Of course. But on top of that, of course, after you've expanded that pain, this is where you really have the chance to be the hero and provide that solution.
Right.
Now, the sale isn't done yet, and we got to make sure we have the right conditions, and that's all part of execute and getting out of there with a win-win for the company, for the employees, and for, of course, us, which is vital.
Right. So that means they got to come back.
Yeah, of course. So one of these days, too, what I want to expand with you on, Micah, is I'd really, and maybe it's too much for a whole segment per pain point. We're really doing a deeper dive on those 5 pain points we talked about, kind of tying back to the D again.
We can definitely do that.
ACA, what does that mean? And what are the things to look at and to get a really drill on?
I think you can see in the future, you can see a video for each pain point, and then a proper guide for each pain point.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait. But obviously, of course, the flags, and that's what you're constantly looking for is different indicators. And again, it's just a skill set of sharpening your ear and actively listening. And many have heard the term, and that's the hard part so often for a salesperson who's excited about what they do, is wanting to jump in and, of course, answer the question for the business. Right. And you've got to exert that discipline of asking the question and then waiting. Yeah. And then, obviously, I'm sure you've heard the term, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, act accordingly, right? You need to listen twice as much as you talk, and especially as a salesperson. And so I would encourage active listening and even pausing in between segments and breaks is really important as well. So anyway, that's just
that's good for all those parents out there that got to do that.
Because we jump all over it. We're so excited.
Right. I always tell people to not really listen, but to hear. Right. But listening is literally just the act of sound hitting your ears.
Sure.
Hearing is actually defined as perceiving what that sound is and means. So hear everything they say and truly perceive what it means and get the meat out of it. You know what I mean? If you do that, I think you'll be just fine out there.
Yeah. There's enough problems for us to solve. So I'm happy. You happy?
I'm happy, man. I'm
Good,
drinking
man.
coffee. I get to drink more coffee.
I know.
It's great.
And I think we're no more videos today. I don't think my metabolism can handle more coffee.
Good deal.
But anyway, so we're happy to have you join us. Thanks for being here. And till next week.
Till next week. Coffee out.
Cheers.